When the Los Angeles Lakers made some big moves in the offseason, everyone thought it would be the fit they needed in order to get their second title in 4 years and LeBron James' fifth ring. Well, most people felt that way at least, including the Lakers organization and their fans. But some called out the moves as bringing in older players and likely not going to work out due to the personalities involved. Fast forward to now, and that prediction has come true. The Lakers are below 500, and people are ready to blow up the team. Allow us to show you realistic trade options if Lakers were to move Anthony Davis. The state of the Lakers. LeBron James and co. added the likes of Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, and other former all-star level talents. But this season has been a complete disaster for the Lakers, and they are now on the verge of missing the playoffs as a whole after being picked by many to win the title this season. Between injuries to both James and Anthony Davis, plus injuries to other key players on this roster throughout the season, the Lakers have had trouble building chemistry on the floor with one another, and they just simply do not have enough talent to be taken seriously as a real threat in this league. Now 37 years old, LeBron James is still an elite-level player that made the All-NBA list for the 18th time in his career. But he cannot carry this squad alone, and the Lakers have hit a new season low this season by losing 3 straight right out of the All-Star break, and they're barely clinging on to their playoff spot. Frank Vogel cannot find any stability on his bench. LeBron James is complaining to local reporters and journalists. And one blowout loss to the Pelicans, a game the Lakers needed to win, LeBron and other Lakers players were getting into arguments with fans during the game. This season has been a complete bust for the Los Angeles Lakers, and with the offseason not really presenting any means for them to get better because of their cap situation, it is time to start floating around the possibility of some major roster changes. Of course, the Los Angeles Lakers should try to trade Russell Westbrook in the offseason, but they should also start to entertain the idea of tearing everything down and beginning some kind of a rebuild process, because they really have not found much success through the years other than their championship in the NBA bubble back in 2020. Trading Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Jordan Clarkson, Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, and others through the years is really starting to catch back up to the Los Angeles Lakers, which is why trading their stars could be the only avenue to long-term success for this franchise. Starting with the one they made the trade for in the first place, Anthony Davis. The state of Davis. Anthony Davis always seems to be injured for the Lakers and is set to make $121.8 million through the 2024-25 season. It could make a lot of sense for Los Angeles to try and move the all-star big man right now while he still holds a ton of value on the market. It is going to be extremely difficult for the Lakers to try and trade Anthony Davis should they be wanting to do so in the offseason, simply because of the fact that he has a lot of yellow flags attached to him. His injury and durability concerns loom large right now, and not many rebuilding teams in this league would likely be willing to give up a ton of future assets to bring in Davis right now. Not to mention, $38 million for the 2022-23 season is a lot of trade value that many teams cannot match right now, or in the offseason for that matter. Should they want to trade Anthony Davis, there will be interest around the league, but landing another top player will be extremely difficult for the Lakers to do. But there are some possibilities out there. OKC Thunder. If there is one team in the league that has the capability to trade for any player, it is the Oklahoma City Thunder, simply because of all the future assets they own. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey are likely untouchable in trade talks, but Luguentz Dort, Darius Bazley, Alexei Pokusevski, Theo Maledon, and Jeremiah Robson-Earl could all be moved in a massive package deal for Anthony Davis. Plus, the Thunder own the rights to 35 total draft picks through 2028. Any combination of draft picks and young talents are on the table for a trade involving the Oklahoma City Thunder right now, and Anthony Davis could be the perfect all-star for them to build with, especially since he is only 28 years old, and the Thunder have an immediate need for a big man in their front court. 3 first-round picks, 1 or 2 second-round picks, Luguentz Dort and Darius Bazley could be enough value for the Lakers to take back in a trade with the Thunder centered around Anthony Davis. That is, if they are fully committed to rebuilding. Charlotte Hornets. Another team besides the Oklahoma City Thunder who could show a level of interest in Anthony Davis is the Charlotte Hornets. For quite some time now, the Hornets have been trying to fix the problem in their front court, and while Mason Plumlee and recently acquired Montrezl Harrell have played well, these two are still not the future of the Hornets' front court. LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier have the backcourt tied up, but the need for a true threat in the front court is very apparent in Charlotte right now, and may be the final piece to making them a real threat in the Eastern Conference. Anthony Davis is not only an elite-level offensive talent when healthy, but he is one of the best defensive players in the league. Running pick-and-roll sets with LaMelo Ball and Terry Rozier would be highly advantageous to the Charlotte Hornets, and they have quite a few assets to talk trades with. Gordon Hayward is now 31 years old and is turning 32 in March, making him a possible offseason trade asset for this team, and Miles Bridges is going to be a very attractive trade piece for this team after the season he has put together. At just 23 years old and being a double-double threat on the wing, Miles Bridges could be exactly what the Los Angeles Lakers would like to add on the wing in a trade involving Anthony Davis. PJ Washington could be included in a trade for more future value going to Los Angeles, as could rookies James Bouknight and Kai Jones. The Charlotte Hornets also own a handful of draft picks, all of which they could package together in a trade for Anthony Davis. Whether this happens is debatable, but options are what the Lakers need right now, and it is an option. Brooklyn Nets. This is a major long shot, especially since the Brooklyn Nets and Ben Simmons are excited for this new chapter together. But you just never know with Sean Marks and the Brooklyn Nets. How the season plays out for the Nets will be very telling about what the future holds for them as an organization, and the sooner we can see Ben Simmons on the floor, the sooner we can make conclusions about his future in Brooklyn. In the offseason, it was said that Ben Simmons would like to play for one of the California teams, and there has been a strong link to the Los Angeles Lakers, especially since he is represented by Rich Paul and Clutch Sports, LeBron James' best friend and agent. Granted, things are still up in the air, but with all the new pieces from Philly, they might decide to go for broke once again. Bet on the big man in Davis and see if him, Simmons, Kyrie, and Durant would be able to make things work. Or they might be gun-shy because they've had to deal with injured players all season, and the last two before that, and thus they wouldn't want to risk it for a guy who might not even be ready for the playoffs when the time comes. All in all, Anthony Davis may have gotten them their title in the bubble, but as we're seeing, his longevity is an issue that the Lakers need to handle right now, or in this case, in the offseason. And should things not go their way still, you can expect this Lakers team to underperform for years to come. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at the Lakers and where they might move Anthony Davis should they get the opportunity? Would you personally move him to one of these teams, or do you think that one of the other players might be more primed for a trade opportunity? What are the realistic expectations for the Lakers next season should some moves be made? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the channel.